What happens when two regional powers quietly decide to redraw their economic and security maps together? This week, India and the United Arab Emirates agreed to double their bilateral trade to $200 billion within 6 years and lock in a decade-long liquefied natural gas supply deal, a scale of ambition that signals far more than commercial optimism. Beneath the numbers lies a strategic recalibration stretching from the Arabian Sea to global supply chains, one that could alter how energy flows, how navies cooperate, and how middle powers hedge in an increasingly fragmented world. This video unpacks what this partnership really represents and why its implications reach well beyond New Delhi and Abu Dhabi. If this upgrade succeeds, India secures energy stability and accelerates its manufacturing and export ambitions, while the UAE cements its role as a logistics and financial hub linking Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. If it falters, both countries risk stalled diversification plans and renewed exposure to volatile markets. And if it deepens further, the partnership could quietly reshape regional security dynamics and trade norms without forming a formal alliance. The stakes touch currency systems, maritime security, and the balance of influence in the Western Indian Ocean, making this agreement a test case for how cooperation evolves in a multipolar era. To understand how significant this moment is, it helps to look back. For decades, India and the UAE maintained a largely transactional relationship centered on oil exports and a vast Indian diaspora working in the Gulf. That began to change around 2015 when both sides recognized overlapping strategic needs. India was seeking deeper engagement with West Asia beyond energy imports, while the UAE was pursuing economic diversification and a look east strategy to reduce reliance on Western markets. These converging priorities laid the groundwork for a broader partnership built on trade, investment, and security rather than a single commodity. The turning point came in 2022 with the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which reduced tariffs and streamlined regulations. Non-oil trade surged afterward, reaching roughly $85 billion in recent years. The new target of $200 billion by 2030 is not incremental. It implies a structural shift. India is positioning itself as a manufacturing base and consumer market, while the UAE leverages its ports, airlines, and financial services to act as a gateway for Indian goods and capital moving toward Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. This complementary model underpins the confidence behind the headline figure. Energy remains central, but the nature of that energy relationship is evolving. During the latest talks, the two governments finalized a 10-year LNG supply agreement under which Abu Dhabi's national oil company will deliver 500,000 metric tons of liquefied natural gas annually to India's Hindustan Petroleum. For India, this provides a stable, long-term gas source outside Russia at a time when global energy markets remain exposed to geopolitical shocks. For the UAE, it guarantees demand, as it balances traditional hydrocarbon exports with investments in renewables and downstream industries. Defense cooperation is the other pillar gaining momentum. Over recent years, India and the UAE have expanded joint military exercises, naval port calls, and maritime coordination. The latest discussions reinforced that trajectory, opening space for deeper collaboration that could include defense industrial projects and intelligence sharing. While neither side frames this as an alliance, the practical effect is a tighter alignment in the Arabian Sea and Western Indian Ocean, regions where shipping lanes, energy infrastructure, and undersea cables are increasingly strategic assets. Power dynamics explain why this matters. India is managing a complex security environment shaped by competition with China and long-standing tensions with Pakistan. The UAE, meanwhile, is navigating a Middle East in flux while hedging against great power rivalry. By strengthening ties, both countries gain strategic flexibility. India benefits from a reliable partner near critical sea lanes, while the UAE diversifies its security relationships beyond traditional Western guarantors. This mutual hedging reflects a broader trend among middle powers seeking autonomy without confrontation. One possible future path is smooth execution. Trade volumes rise steadily as tariff reductions, logistics integration, and investment flows take effect. The rupee-dirham trade settlement mechanism expands, reducing transaction costs and marginally challenging dollar dominance in regional commerce. Energy supplies remain predictable, supporting India's industrial growth and the UAE's export revenues. Defense cooperation deepens incrementally, improving maritime awareness and crisis coordination without provoking regional backlash. In this scenario, the partnership becomes a model for pragmatic, interest-based cooperation in a multipolar system. Another scenario is more uneven. Global economic slowdowns, regulatory bottlenecks, or political shifts could slow trade growth, making the $200 billion target harder to reach. Energy markets could change, reducing the relative value of long-term LNG contracts. Defense collaboration might remain symbolic rather than transformative. Even then, the partnership would still represent diversification compared with past dependence patterns, but its strategic signaling effect would be muted, offering fewer lessons for other states considering similar arrangements. The ripple effects extend across the region. Enhanced India-UAE coordination strengthens an alternative supply chain corridor linking India with the Middle East and onward to Europe, including connections through Israel. This has implications for traditional routes that pass through congested choke points. In the Indian Ocean, closer naval cooperation adds another layer to an already crowded security environment involving the United States, China, and regional actors. While not confrontational, it subtly adjusts calculations about presence and influence. At the global level, this agreement illustrates how economic and security policies are increasingly intertwined. Long-term energy deals are no longer just commercial instruments. They are tools of strategic resilience. Trade targets are not just about growth. They shape currency usage and financial infrastructure. Defense cooperation short of alliances still influences deterrence and stability. For observers, the India-UAE partnership shows how states are building dense networks to manage uncertainty rather than relying on single patrons or blocs.